We have a dilemma. The current state of MX bikes is at a crossroads. The game is beginning to show the middle stages of dying, with community loss and player count in a sharp decline, is in a desperate need of an update. If we look back to February of this year, we can see the all-time peak of MX bikes. The player count reached a record of 5,120 peak players, which coincides with a high in player average of 3,010. Then came the fall. Over the next 8 months, the player count fell to lows not seen in over a year. But we'll come back to that. You may be asking, but why? What caused this? A game that has been steadily growing in players for years up to this point. In fact, the game had an increase of 13 and 8% in the 2 months prior to this decline. I want you to keep those numbers in your head as we go further on in this video. They will come prevalent later. I believe we can look at a couple of aspects and factors that accredit to the sudden change in the player base. The first being the announcement of Motocross the Game back on November 8th of 2024 by Virtual MX. Now, of course, this announcement came months before the decrease in player count, but we can still see how this affected the level of production of bikes. Creators like Stone Rider, Checkers, Hell Machine, JV have all shifted their focus away from bikes as they've been brought on to work on the new Motocross the Game, as well as creators like Hearn now working on the LCQ Motocross game. The shifted focus has led to some of the best creators producing less fun and innovative tracks. Apart from the replicas, these creators do not put out new content, leaving the game in a weakened state that we haven't seen since bikes initially was created. Project leads like Reaper Doc have shifted away some focus from bikes, with marketing and other factors towards Motocross the Game. The lack of focus has resulted in part from a few track creators less content provided. And on the OEM side of things, we haven't seen much content drops with the new bikes really since 2023, outside of a few tweaks like the changed traction in early 2025, which has left the game a little stale as there's no new updates to the bikes to move towards the current year models. It's another layer of less content provided to the community. Since January 9th, with the drop of 0.19.1, which was a change to the traction, we haven't seen any new content from the OEM team. Without the evolving physics and better model that these bikes were providing over the course of the years, the game is left in an unfinished and unpolished state, where it creates a layer of frustration for where the bikes currently sit. And instead of the idea of it being evolving changes to better the game, it is now just a state of disappointment with things the community wants to see change to the bikes. The way they react on the ground and in the air, the bounciness of the suspension, and the slow speed physics model that is currently provided with how the bike gyrates and dances under 20 miles an hour and going uphill is a challenge to keep the bike straight. As you can see in this example, it leaves much room to be desired. Also, the way you can pogo off of cases and over jumps, there's no punishment for missed timing. It leaves the community wanting change and better. Without any updates coming from the OEM team, it's starting to turn people away from this game. The idea there's no new rapid change coming turns people away. We can also see the rise of hacking in bikes as another problem. Over the past few months, the prevalence of hacking has risen in the game. We've seen content creators start posting about the issues that they have seen, whether it be in their own lobbies with creators such as Kelso or Linz, who's posted a video dictating how the current state of the game and the professional scene wasn't something he was enjoying, as we just recently saw a couple lower level pro players get banned for cheating. Now, of course, the hackers are far and few between, but the ones who do hack still leave an impression with people. The fact there is really no ban system takes away from some of the satisfaction with this game. It now leaves in the back of every player's mind the question of, was this person cheating? Or were they simply better? These hackers can circumvent getting banned from lobbies. It creates an unchecked system where there really is no consequences to getting banned. The hacking has also evolved to the point where there really is no way to get banned through the creator's lack of presence and overall neglect of the game, which is a point I'll get later on in this video. Hackers can tweak some of the settings to their software to even allow just simply as 1% of a grip advantage, which can add up over the course of the race. They are also able to use other people's GUID, which is the game's way of determining who you are through your Steam account, which can present problems in of itself. When you look at the fact that many people join games and get these players banned or kicked from the lobbies, but then it's simply just going to be able to use a different Steam profile's GUID, which in turn, although it's a small chance, could still cause an instance of an innocent person getting banned, as they can pull GUID from anyone with a Steam account, whether or not they have the game. It has created a dilemma inside the bikes community that has left a bad taste in some people's mouths and has made the game for some less fun and enjoyable, causing over time people to simply not want to play the game outside of a few friends. It has weakened the community. Now, in my opinion, the standout faraway thing that's killing this game more than anything else would have to be its creator, Poboso. The man who created and laid out the foundation for a game with so much potential and a game that saw a rise in its community with the ability to take sole center stage of the motocross simulator games has failed. He has all but abandoned it. He hasn't changed anything the community wants to see change. He hasn't addressed the hacker problem. He hasn't made better the physics model the way people want to see it, where it makes it less challenging for the OEM team to develop, as in part why we no longer see new bikes. His unwillingness to work with the OEM team and the community has ravaged it, has made some players turn away, look for other avenues with less interest in this game, and is why we see this downturn in the player base, with it peaking months ago when the last updates were. We can see a direct correlation from the updates and changes to this game and the downfall of the player base. After a month or two with no new updates or developments, that is when we see the downtrend in March and April, when consistent players stop playing this game and some of the professionals get burnt out because apart from the replica tracks, there was really no new content being produced to satisfy the player base, no evolution. And this frustrates me as someone for years enjoyed this game and strived to get better at it and to get to a point where at one point or another I was able to beat some of the top players in ranked. It's left me no longer wanting to get better. It's left me wanting to play other games, give Reflex one more try, give MX Simulator a shot. And it's not just me, it feels this way. My closest friends also feel the same way with this game, leaving us burnt out, not liking the current state, not liking the OEM team no longer providing and not updating, not liking the content creators and track makers focusing elsewhere, because they also feel the same way with the current state, that there really is no future for bikes, no longevity, no signs of progress. The foundation is laid out for a great game. You had a community building, people wanting to develop it and let it blossom, but the creator shied away and the community knows. That's why we see this downtrend in MX bikes. Do you remember how I said keep those numbers in your head as they become more important later? If we look at those numbers, since those numbers, in the last 8 months alone, MX Bikes has lost 24% of its player base. 24. That is a red flag. That is a sign that the community is starting to die, and not slowly. Because once you start seeing the seeds of people tapering off and the content dwindle, that is when more and more people will leave, go look for newer, better games. That's why I think it's a dilemma. Because if the creator really did come back and really did care, I still think there's a chance for revival, a chance for the community to come back. But until we see any sort of development with this game, I don't think that will happen. I think MX Spice will turn into another one of those games that in 5 to 10 years, people will look back and remember fondly but have no desire to play. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure you like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the support on my latest videos. And yeah, let me know if you want to see something similar to this. What are your thoughts on this down below? I actually used someone on my previous similarly style video, and his ideas were something that I did use in this video. So shout out to him. His comments on screen now. So yeah, if you guys do want to see something like this again, let me know. And thank you for watching.